Hi, I'm Patricia and welcome to my creative space. Okay, and today what we're going to be making are some Christmas bell ornaments. I'm using my cutter from OjoyCreationsInc.com along with our silk screen and micro glitter. And I also have Primo Pearl rolled out onto the thickest setting, I do believe, on my Atlas Pasto machine 150. I'm going to take the clay and I'll put it on a sheet of paper. I don't want it to stick. I'm just going to flatten that out and make sure it's good and flat. And I'm going to grab my silk screen here. I'm going to lay that down on it. I still have the plastic backing on it. I used this a couple years ago. In fact, it's the first silk screen I got from Joy. So I'm going to use that today. I'm just going to lay that on there, smooth it out, make sure it's down there real good. Then I'm going to get my stuff gathered up here. Find my Mega Blade from tinypandora.com. And I'm going to cut these edges off. So I'm just trimming up around the edges of the silk screen. That's all I'm doing right now. I don't want to waste any more clay than I have to. Okay, and I'm going to be using one of my GOLDILOCKS brushes, and this came in a kit from tinypandora.com as well. And I've got my glitter from OjoyCreationsInc.com. I believe this one is called Sea of Space. I'm just going to dab my brush into the glitter, pick some up, and put it on the silk screen, and then just start brushing it in a swirling motion across it until I make sure that the glitter is down in there really good and adhering to the clay. And so this isn't so boring, I'm going to speed this up. So I'm sure that you can see pretty well what I'm doing here, even though I've got it sped up. Just taking that glitter, like I said, pushing it in, swirling it in, trying to make sure I get it all in there really good. Okay, and I just about got it all done. And I'm just kind of going back over things here a little bit to make sure I got them good and dark. I want to make sure that glitter is good in there. I don't want any light ones, so I'm just kind of brushing it along, dusting it all off. I will peel back the silk screen and see what we get. Oh, that looks nice. Very nice. I'm very pleased with it. I think it's great how it came out. And I love that it's all glittery. I wish you could see what I see. I've taken my cutter and I have dusted it down with some cornstarch so that it don't stick when I make my cut and my impression. Find where I want it. I'm going to grab my acrylic block. I'm going to push down on it. Give it a little twist as I go. I'm going to take my hands and twist it a little more, trying to make sure I get a good cut and a good imprint. Carefully lift it off there. And it didn't seem to go all the way through at first, but then I realized that it did. And so I just kind of popped it out of there. I'm not too worried about the edges right now. I will get those cleaned up when I sand it, or I will trim them off. I'm not too worried about that. Just trying to make sure I have nothing distorted. And I'll cut out another one. I had enough to make two. So I'm going to take my little swizzle straw here. You can use a cutter if you got the mini cutters, or you can use one of these swizzle straws if you happen to have one. Make my hole in there. Okay, and here I've got me another slab of Primo Pearl rolled out onto the thickest setting. And I'm going to put a backing on this because of how it did it. What I'm going to do is put a film of plastic wrap down. Got something on my clay there. So I'm going to put this plastic wrap down. And I'm going to take my cutter and cut it out. I try not to get too much of the imprint. What I'm going to do is flip it over and put it on the other side. But first I need to trim off these edges. So I'm going to go through with my X-Acto knife and trim the edges up. And I'm going to speed this up for you. Okay, now I will bring my slab of pearl back over, and I've got it on a wax paper sheet. So I'm going to take my acrylic block here and push down to make this cut. Like I said, I'm doing this so that the impression is not so deep. I don't really want a deep impression. I'm going to kind of smooth it out to where it's not so deep. I want to use this as a backing. So I'm just going to pop it out. Okay. Turn my bell over. And I'll just be placing them together like so. So, just making sure they're going to look good. Sorry, I'm out of view. I'm just making sure that it's going to do what I want it to do. I'm going to smooth out this edge. And I think it's going to work out. So what I need to do is get out my poly paste or my liquid clay or whatever you may have, and I'm gonna make that back tacky so that the raw clay will adhere to the already baked clay. So here I'm just gonna brush on a little bit. Like I said, you just want it tacky, you don't want it real slick, or you're just gonna make it slide all over the place and make it harder for yourself. So you just want that back to be tacky. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take that piece and I'm gonna put it on top of there, wind up as best I can get it. Now that it's kind of tacky, it's gonna be a little bit hard. Kind of fudge on there the way I want it. Kind of patting it down, kind of squeezing it, pushing it around, making it go where I want it to go. And I'm going to kind of take and round off these edges. So now I'm just taking and I'm pulling that clay over the edges so I can round them off. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Hopefully it's not going too fast. Just taking my time, making sure that I got everything where I want it. Smoothing it all out. Okay, now I'm just going to take my little straw here, poke that hole through. Being really careful. Trying not to distort anything. Just smoothing this other side out. And I'm just going to take the straw again, make sure my hole is good. There we go. I'm just going to smooth it a little bit more, kind of using the palm of my hand to kind of pat it down, texture it if you will. Take that straw to the back side. That looks good. Time for the oven. Let's make sure my piece stays nice and flat. I'm going to just put some paper over it and set another tile on top. And I will pop this in the oven for 45 minutes. It's all done and cooled down. And now it's time to sand the back. Okay, and since this is the glitter, I'm not sure how it's going to fare on here in the water. So I think what I want to do is a test piece, and I'm going to start with 400 grit. And I've got my test piece here. I'm going to put it in the water, turn that on, and start sanding and see how it fares. And I'm not going to be gentle with it. I want to make sure that that glitter is going to stay. So I'll do a little bit here and see how it goes. And I will be sanding from 400 grit all the way up to 10,000 grit. And the glitter seems to be holding up. So I think we're good. Now here you can see that I've got it all sanded and it's given a little bit of a mica shift back there, which is pretty cool actually. So now I'm going to resin with Lisa Pavelka's Magic Gloss, and you can get that at tinypandora.com, along with the UV mat that I'm using here. Now what I'm doing is just filling the inside of the lines so that I can get everything nice and even to go over it with one nice coat finish. So that's what I'm doing here. And I have sped this process up for you. So just getting in all them nooks and crannies. Gonna make sure everything's nice and filled in where I need it to be. If it goes a little bit over, that's no big deal, because we're gonna recover it when it comes out of the light anyway. And I'll be using my light from tinypandora.com also. Take my lighter and just go over it a little bit, popping any air bubbles I see. And again, trying to get something out of there. Looked like I had a little piece of lint in there. Okay, so it looks like it might have it. It's all out of the UV light. Now I'm going to go over it, pull it, get it all filled in. Being real careful around my hole because I don't want it to run down inside of there. Just make sure I get that all dragged to the edges. Make sure everything's all good and filled in. Take my liner, hit it, get all the air bubbles out. Making sure it's all filled in. One more time with the lighter. Here we go. And we're out of the UV light. Looks nice and good. I'll show you up close what it looks like. Got a nice finish to it. Came out really nice. I'm very pleased with it. Okay, now we're going to make a hook for it. And I am using some wire here that is 20 gauge, I think. Honestly, I'm not sure, but I believe it's 20 gauge. So I'm just going to take and cut off a piece of wire, and I've got a bead I'm going to put on it. And I will let you know ahead of time here. For most of this, I am out of frame, and I do apologize about that. After I zoomed in, I forgot to zoom back out. Now I'm just going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to like gift tag it here. This is for an exchange Secret Santa. And yeah, I thought a Christmas ornament would be really nice. And putting to and from on it and the year it was made. I thought that would be pretty neat. Yeah, I love making Christmas ornaments. Okay, and right now what I'm doing is I am bending my cord, trying to make a loop here. And I'm going to stick that in there. I'm just going to bend that a little bit more. Again, I'm really sorry I'm so out of frame on this. Just checking to see how it's hanging. Put my bead on there. Notice that I need to put a little hook in there so I can keep it from sliding all the way down. It's been a while since I've made one of these, so bear with me. There we go. And I'm just going to make a top loop up here. Kind of want it big because I want it to be able to hang on a tree branch. So just folding it over like I would do with any other bead. And I'm just going to start bending it. Like I said, I want to make it pretty big. So I'm just going to try to get a general shape going on here. Trying to figure out where I want to cut it off at. That looks good there, I think. A little bit more. I kind of want it to curve in, so I want to take a little bit extra here when I cut it, so I can make that another inner curve. Kind of bend that up. I'm going to get me out of I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. It's a from a marshmallow roasting stick I had cut down. It's kind of the size of a small dowel rod. So I'm taking it and using it to form my curve around. I'll take my round nose pliers again and make a little loop in there. Just kind of twisting it here. Make sure it's exactly where I want it, where I need it to be placed for hanging. I think it looks cute. That's how it will hang. There we go. And that's all there is to that. And that's it for today's tutorial. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I also have a Facebook group, Trisha's Lovely Creations, and I hope to see you there. Thanks. Have a great day.